Well, welcome back to Channel 18 after our little vacation. It's good to be here. And to start the year, 2012, we're pleased to welcome our friends from the Harwich Conservation Trust and their new AmeriCorps volunteer. Matt Cannon is at the far right, and then you know Ryan Mann and Michael Lack, and I'm Paul Coughlin. How about that? So, Matt, since you're way down there, we're going to want to know a little bit about you. What got you interested in AmeriCorps, and what brings you to Harwich Conservation Trust?
Sure. I actually just graduated in May from Connecticut College with a double major in sociology-based human relations and government. And essentially, I was looking for a great community service experience to kind of coincide with my education and help me figure out exactly what I'd like to do for my career. So one day a week I'm with the Harwich Conservation Trust, and I'm the Harwich Environmental Initiatives Coordinator there. And yeah, it's been great so far. We've done a lot of projects, and hopefully that experience will help me in my future quests.
Wonderful. And he's been a big help to you, Ryan?
Absolutely. You know, the AmeriCorps program has been absolutely essential to Harwich Conservation Trust's success over the last number of years. This is the second year that we've had a collaboration with the town of Harwich Department of Natural Resources to have a AmeriCorps individual placement that has helped us get some of these initiatives underway and also sustain some of our larger stewardship objectives, including work at Thompson's Field for the last 9 or 10 years. I think we're on our 10th year this year. That's pretty amazing. Every spring, Matt will have a piece of that. AmeriCorps has also been very involved with work at Coldbrook Woodlands, building boardwalks at Lee Baldwin Memorial Woodlands, as well as the DeFovio Boardwalk. Lots of work at the Bank Street Bogs Nature Preserve, as well as also invasive control, and also a lot of other smaller property, more time-based, smaller projects at different properties around Harwich. It's been really wonderful. We also appreciate their help with our herring counting in the spring, as well as the eel count. So it's amazing how vast and how essential their service has been over the last couple of years. And Matt's been great the last couple of months. We're looking forward to working with him the next couple of months.
For one day a week, Matt, they're really working you hard.
Yeah, not too much free time. No.
That's good, huh?
But that being said, though, I really appreciate Matt's enthusiasm. Whenever he comes in the office, he's just like, we're going to try to get as much done as possible today. And that's really a great way to be, and we really appreciate that.
And just quickly, are you doing this in other areas?
So the other day,
AmeriCorps?
yes, on Thursdays I'm with the Eastham Department of Natural Resources, and that is my other individual placement. And then the rest of the week we do various other group service projects throughout the Cape and Barnstable County.
Very good. Now I think we'll turn to Michael. He has some interesting news to tell us, and it's called, I think, the Coldbrook Restoration Project at Bank Street.
Yeah, and before I talk about that, Paul, just to sort of take a view of AmeriCorps from about 30,000 feet up, you heard Matt say he's working with town of Eastham on another day, weekday, and you heard him say we work on other projects during the week. He's one of more than 24 AmeriCorps people. For those of you who aren't familiar with the AmeriCorps program on Cape Cod, the Cape Cod program, or called a chapter, is part of a larger national service organization. And part of their service involves, as Matt described, 1 day a week or 2 days a week, depending on the AmeriCorps placement project with an organization. Could be a nonprofit or a collaboration between a municipality and a nonprofit. Some work with the Cape Cod National Seashore, some work with state agencies, some work with the Cape Cod Commission. They're based in 2 houses, one in Wellfleet and another more than a dozen in Bourne. And they set out for their projects across the Cape Cod, Cape Cod's 15 towns. They receive that housing as part of the overall program from September through July. That's roughly their their term. And then at the end of that service, they can receive an educational award that can be used to offset prior college expenses or be put towards graduate education,
Yes.
which I think you might be looking
Yes,
at.
I
Is
am
that
actually.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a great project. Fortunately, AmeriCorps nationally has been surviving these tight fiscal times, and we hope it will continue that way so that we can continue working with AmeriCorps locally. They certainly save us a lot of energy and provide a huge amount of benefit to all of the towns and county.
Well, since you're a very lightly staffed organization, it's nice to have that in your back pocket.
It's tremendous, yeah. Coldbrook Restoration Project you mentioned. We're very fortunate that the state Division of Ecological Restoration has selected this habitat restoration project at Coldbrook, which winds through our largest protected land holding of the Bank Street Bogs Nature Preserve, over 60 acres of wetland and surrounding upland. You see the aerial trail map there. The area shaded in green is the area protected by the Harwich Conservation Trust. And the roads surrounding it in Harwichport are essentially Gorham Road to the north and east, Bank Street on the west, and Hoyt Road to the south. Coldbrook winds throughout, eventually flowing into Saquatucket Harbor on Nantucket Sound. The trailhead, as you see in the upper left, is at that point where it says, "You are here." That is the map that you see in the trailhead kiosk that's displayed right at the Harbor Master's Workshop parking lot. We're lucky to have a collaboration with the Board of Selectmen, which manage that Harbor Master Workshop property, along with Tom Leach, the Director of Natural Resources for the town, also the Harbor Master. And that's where people park and access these amazing trails. Well, for the past 10 years or so, the trust, Harwich Conservation Trust, has been looking at ways to enhance wildlife habitat, water flow towards through Coldbrook, and while maintaining access for walkers. You see that aerial view. That's a great shot looking from Bank Street east across the Cape with the Bank Street Bogs Nature Preserve in the foreground. It's essentially former cranberry bog with a series of deteriorating flumes. That was the condition at which they were deteriorating when the trust acquired it. It looked into possibly replacing some of them for continued agricultural production. The numbers didn't make sense. We saw opportunities for funding for wildlife habitat restoration, and you see that map with a better view of Coldbrook winding throughout and the flow there. And so we've been partnering with the Town Conservation Commission, Department of Natural Resources, Harbor Master, the federal U.S. Department of Agriculture. We received some money. The State Coastal Zone Management Office, we received another grant for some preliminary engineering studies, and now the state's Division of Ecological Restoration has stepped in and said, we think this is a priority. They're going to provide us some technical assistances and services to expand our restoration research. And there's one of the flumes. I mean, Ryan can talk about all the work on the ground that he's been engaged in for more than 3.5 years.
Yeah, I would say thousands of hours, both staff and volunteer time has been spent at Bank Street Bogs Nature Preserve over the last few years. And before me, you know, the work of Ben Wright and other volunteers really it's incredible how long this project has been going on. That's one of my favorite shots, just looking up Coldbrook right there, down towards Hoyt Road. It is a very vast area. It is a very biodiverse area. It's an amazing bird habitat. Lots of creatures flying through the air. It really is just a very special place, and we're very excited to be able to have the access. Oh my gosh, look at that beautiful pink katydid right there. Oh my gosh, look at that. Is that a green eye? Wow.
I know, the
incredible.
katydid, I mean, just to give you an example, what Ryan was saying about the incredible biodiversity, which we want to continue to enhance through this partnership with the state for wildlife habitat enhancement. That katydid is a very rare color color mutation on the typical green katydid. And more than 30 visitors, walkers, got to see that on
Yeah.
one of our free guided walks. We offer walks throughout the seasons there, ranging everything from botanical walks to more of a historical angle. Look at it, that's just incredible. That was taken by Mark McGrath, who lives in Harwich. And yeah, it's just an amazing experience out there. Level walking, and I think you're going to see some pretty interesting enhancements over probably the next 2 to 3 year time frame as we work towards this large-scale restoration project.
Well, I'm impressed by the number of agencies that you've collaborated with.
Yeah.
That sounds to me like quite an effort and very well thought out.
Yeah, I mean, one of them in particular, the Division of Marine Fisheries, Brad Chase as a point person, you know, has been terrific with our eel migration ramp project. 4 seasons now, thousands of eels have migrated successfully up through the system into their headwater pond, a grassy pond. Most of them, you know, young eels under 6 inches in length. 6 inches or more is the state minimum for legal catch size. So these are all below that catch size. So it's great that they make their way up. They become part, again, of the critical food web, in not only the estuary and the freshwater system, but back when some of them mature and migrate down to spawn in the Sargasso Sea, then they become part of the marine food web. So great partnerships with many agencies. Yeah.
Yes, that's quite a job. And you've answered several of my questions. So why don't we move right on to your talks this year?
Yeah.
There's one coming up very soon?
Yeah, it's Saturday, January 7th, 2 p.m. You'll see on our website, harwichconservationtrust.org. If web doesn't work for you, give us a call, 432-3997. It's 508-432-3997. We'll mail you a schedule. We've got winter ducks coming up with Peter Trull. He's going to talk about ducks. You see a great black duck there, photographed by Elliot Carr. You'll see the next few photos, courtesy of Elliot Carr. But Peter's going to talk about bufflehead like this, and 3 species of merganser, and common eider. He'll talk about, there's an eider there, good sea duck. He'll talk about common goldeneye, ruddy duck, American widgeon, loons, grebes, American coot. And there's a female red-breasted merganser. He'll also talk about hooded merganser and common merganser. And he'll also bring copies of his latest illustrated guide to the common birds of Cape Cod, which he'll have available for sale and signing. It's going to be a great talk. It's a suggested donation of $2 per person, and we've got a great lineup. Then the following Saturday, January 14th at 2 p.m., again, here in the Harwich Community Center in the multipurpose room, we'll have Nature's Migrations with David Clapp, who's a seasoned eco-tour leader with Smithsonian Journeys. He'll talk about the challenges and fascinating facts about animal migration, distance, timing, magnetic fields, and sheer determination involved in monarch migration and a number of other species. And then Ryan's got a great talk lined up for January 28th.
January 28th, we're having Dr. Andrea Hawks from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute talking about microclimatology and how storms actually can be tracked hundreds, if not thousands of years into the past by what they deposit onto the land. And she has some very exciting cutting-edge research that will have probably some deep-finding effects into the future regarding climate change. So it's going to be a very, very interesting and fascinating talk. I really encourage everybody to get to that one on January 28th.
Yeah, and then we lead right into February, but I suppose we could talk about that at another program.
That's right. The 1st of February is a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
We'll be here.
But we hope you can join us. It's going to be a great, great talk series as always.
Well, nice to meet you, Matt.
Thank you. One more thing, on January 16th, we're having our Martin Luther King Day community service event. It's at 9 a.m. at Orleans Elementary School. If anyone would like to come, please feel free. It'll really embrace the spirit of Martin Luther King on that day. So
Great.
Oh, very good. So it's all part of your social studies.
yes, exactly.
Very good. Well, we're glad to meet you. We wish you continued success. And thanks to Ryan and Everyone else,
Yeah.
mental blocks here.
Thank you for having us, Paul.
Thank you.